What's up, interwebs? It's your realtor, Jeremy. It's time for the Valley Market Update. This week, we're going to take a look at Chandler, Gilbert, and Queen Creek, our big three southeast cities. I know, it's been a while, like a month, since I did a market update. So what happens when you get sick for like 2 weeks, and then also the January numbers, as I looked at them, not really indicative of what was actually happening in the market. Like by mid-February, I knew none of that information was going to be helpful in any way, shape, or form because the market had a big shift in January. So all those numbers from December and stuff like that just weren't helpful. So February, these numbers you're going to see are a little more indicative of what's actually happening in this market right now. And I got to be honest, it's intense. I don't want to say crazy. Everybody's talking crazy. It's not crazy. It's just there's a level of intensity that is kind of surprising, and it's tough for buyers, especially buyers that don't have a lot of extra cash right now. And we're not seeing the inventory numbers tick up like we were hoping or expecting. Nothing's going to change for a while. It's going to be intense for a while. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get into the numbers. Let's look at Chandler. And Chandler is the hot place to buy right now. Take a look at the inventory levels. We did have the new listings tick up a bit, but so did the buyers. So kind of a net zero change on that. That big spike is accurate. I know a lot of times I say we'll see if it's a blip or no, it's accurate. That's exactly what's happening. It's skyrocketing right now in Chandler. Absorption rate is sitting kind of flat at that 0.6 months, which like I said, we kind of had a net zero change, meaning we did have more listings, but only a few and just as many new buyers. This one, the sold to list price ratio. I mentioned that these numbers, just the numbers from last month, those January numbers, which are technically stuff that went under contract in December, were not indicative of what was actually happening in the market. And this is just the proof of that. Yeah, we saw a jump that went from the average or the sold to list price ratio being just above 100 to the tan and black line flip-flopping again, meaning no price reductions. Jump all the way up to being over 102%. A 2% change in a month is pretty dramatic. Days on market, they did tick back down, but we're still under that 30 days. Average sale price for Chandler, $580,180, up from $467,87, a 24.2% change. Now here's where some of the numbers are going to differ from what we saw last year in the trends, where we saw more houses selling for way more money last year. I think the trend this year is we're going to see the sold numbers being less than they were last year. Last year in February, we sold 350. This year, we only sold 327. Last year, the most popular price band was the 3 to 400. This year, the most active price band was actually the 550 to 750. The 4 to 5 was just below it, but you can just see a dramatic shift in the price bands that were the most popular. Chandler's on fire right now from a home value standpoint. And people want to be in Chandler. There's a lot of new business moving to Chandler. Chandler is really beginning to solidify itself as the kind of the Silicon Valley of the Phoenix metro area. And those are gonna just continue to push up the home values in Chandler. Next, we've got Gilbert. Gilbert actually saw a bit of a drop-off in new listings, but a spike in the sold listings. So inventory has actually gone down even more in Gilbert. We had that blip last month where it dropped way down, but then came right back up. If you take the last 4 months, Gilbert seems to be leveling off a little bit in values. We'll see if that trend continues as we go on throughout the year. I'm sure it'll continue to tick up, but maybe not as dramatically as we might be seeing in Chandler. We might be seeing a little bit of a divergence between Gilbert and Chandler. Absorption rate is at 0.6 months. Sold to list price, we did see it tick up from 101 to a little bit under 102. We did see the black and tan lines invert, but not as dramatic of a jump as we saw in Chandler. Days on market, still under 30, but did tick up like 1 day. Average sale price in Gilbert, $609,514, up from $483,274, a 26.12% change. Now this is interesting. We actually sold more houses in Gilbert last month than we did the previous year, which, as I kind of glanced through the numbers, I don't remember seeing that being different. But you will see that just like Chandler compared to last year, the price bands, they all shot up. So the most active price band is that 550 to 750. Next closest one was the 4 to 500, but I mean, you look at last year and it was 200 of them were under 500,000. Now don't barely have 100. Big changes year over year. Queen Creek, they did have a drop off of new listings. Little bit of a tick up of sold listings, but overall, the actives did come down quite a bit. Queen Creek has traditionally had a little more inventory, and that's a lot of it to do with the fact that it's a little bit further out. So if you're working in either downtown Phoenix or the employment corridor in Chandler, like the Price Road area, Queen Creek is a little bit far out for that. So I think that's why we generally have seen it not have as short of inventory. I mean, inventory is still really low, but it's not as low in Queen Creek. Average sold price ticking up a little bit, but nothing crazy dramatic. Absorption rate is at about 0.8 months. Last month it was at a month, so we definitely saw the inventory levels drop off a little bit, but there's still more than we see in Chandler and Gilbert. Sold to list price ratio last month, the black line that sold to original list was under 100%, and it ticked back up to a little bit over 100%. Days on market sitting at 35, but pretty steady for the last 4-5 months. Average sold price $632,822, up from $487,479, a 29.82% change, so almost 30% year over year. Queen Creek's always killing it with that appreciation. And Queen Creek, we saw 149 houses sold last month, so apparently I don't really look at my data that close before I do this live on camera. So you guys really, I mean, this is the proof. You guys are really kind of getting a fairly live reaction from me. I kind of glance at it to see if there's some really noticeable trends or some noticeable anomalies. Obviously, you're seeing my true initial reaction. Anyway, 149 last month, previous year 132. The most popular price band, just like Chandler and Gilbert, is the 550 to 750 at 49. Thanks guys for watching this week's Valley Market Update. Again, sorry for the delay in them. The data was just not helpful that we had for January. Just because it wasn't what was actually happening in the market. And I think that's why it's so important that you work with a realtor that is active in the market. You may have somebody you know or a family member, maybe extended family member that has their license but only sells 1 or 2 houses a year, maybe. They don't have the same kind of understanding of what's actually happening right now in the market. And I saw that with the listing that I had, is that there were a lot of agents that just didn't really understand what was happening. It's very obvious the agents that understand what's happening right now and the agents that don't. So make sure you hire an agent like me, whether you're looking to buy or to sell. Even selling makes a huge difference. So check back next week where we're going to cover some more cities in the Valley Market Update. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.